A little tall for our family.
Welcome to the Next Level Podcast. Yo, welcome to the Next Level Podcast. On the previous episode, we were talking about advantages.
Yep.
On this episode, we're talking about,
Disadvantages.
you know what, that would be good, but no, we're not talking about that.
I just had to do that. That's funny.
We're talking about,
I'm having fun.
should you manage your own properties?
I want to
Ooh.
talk about disadvantages.
Ooh,
That's
ooh.
a disadvantage.
Okay, perfect. Let's dive right in.
Why? Why is it?
Oh, man. I mean, I love property management. It's fun. I love tenants. They're fun. They're just interesting. And I tell you what, managing your properties is time consuming.
It is.
And the most
It's-
valuable asset you have is time.
Time is money.
So, although you save money, you lose a lot of time.
You do.
So, if time is money, then you lose a lot of money.
Money.
Bars.
Losing them
What
bars.
would Anthony's rap name be?
Anthony?
AD.
Hey, dude.
Ludicrous.
Ludacris.
Lucrative DeLuca.
Lucrative DeLuca, bro.
Lucrative.
Luca money.
Lucrative.
Luca money.
Yeah.
Lucrative. All right.
Yeah.
Luca money.
So Anthony's dropping bars today. But
Yep.
yeah, that's 100% true. I see Anthony. I don't really manage property as much as Anthony does. I see him.
Mm-hmm.
Tenants, coming
It's
in and out.
it's a lot of work, but I also like it because I like people
Yeah.
and I get to know them and it's interesting.
Yeah.
You get to help people, especially when you're renting to them. You get an opportunity to help people because a lot of people think it's all about money, and it's also about protecting your property. And the people that live in your property, they're part of the investment plan. So
Absolutely.
I think it's a big chess piece. People obviously you want to get rents, and they got to make sense, and you got to. It's business,
Business, baby.
but at the same time, I mean, you try to treat people the way you'd want to be treated. So, you don't try to. We try to take care of them.
Respect.
Yeah, respect them because they're taking care of your property. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
if you show them that respect, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're taking care of your property." Well, that says a lot.
Yeah, and I know your philosophy and I think a good way to do it is if rent is like 1,400, you don't ask the tenant for 1,400. You're like, market's 14, you maybe ask them 1,250 or 1,300 because
Yeah.
they feel like they're getting a deal, and hopefully they know that they're getting a deal, so they'll take care of the property. They'll
Yeah, because the funny thing, or it's not the funniest, but the funny thing is a lot of times you buy a property and then you're like, well, man, these rents are really low because and I tell landlords or I tell sellers all the time, I'm like, yeah, you can afford to rent this out at 600 because you don't have a mortgage, or you bought this out several $100,000 less, years ago, and you want us to pay a lot more money than you bought it for. But the reality is, like, what you're charging, we can't buy it at that and maintain, a mortgage or just even run the property. So we have to lift rents.
Yep.
And when we do go to lift rents, it's a delicate balance of what to do, because they could be grossly undervalued or under market rent. And so you're lifting them and you do it. We have a way that we do it. And when you talk to them, the first thing they always say to us is, "Are you lifting rents?" Because they know they're probably getting a sweetheart deal. And we just tell them, like, yeah, we're going to have to. It's going to come slow. It's going to be steady, but it's going to happen. So the automatic reaction is,
Oh.
Is that a question? Oh,
yeah.
that's a question.
Yeah.
What's their automatic reaction?
Oh, I'm going to go find another place.
Exactly.
And they're not going to.
Like, we see it all the time.
We see it all the time. Okay, sounds good. And then, no, man, everything's so expensive out there.
Exactly. So, we're reasonable. We're like, man, we're coming up like $25, $50.
Month, yeah.
Yeah, and we do that for like a quarter, or like 6 months, and then we do it again. That's kind of like how we treat it
Yep.
until we get them to market rent or below, something respectable or something that we can handle to help everything be healthy. But that's like the number one thing is like, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
We're moving out. Okay.
Yeah, people start stomping their feet, him and Han. But the reality, they're probably still getting a sweetheart deal, even if we're lifting.
Yeah, no, they're still getting a deal.
Yeah, and it happens every time, but
Yeah.
it's just interesting, and I can see their point of view. I mean, they've been getting X for so many times. You know, like say they've been paying $700, and it's worth like $950,
Mm-hmm.
and so and maybe the landlord back then did, you know, the condition wasn't as good, but typically we get the property and we do improvements or we fix anything that maybe the landlord previously was not fixing, so we take care of all that. So they got a better place. But in their mind, they're like, man, this is the same dump I've been living in.
Yep.
But, you know, in reality is, hey, we're going to take better care of you. And we want you to be there if you want to be there. That's the
Yeah.
bottom line.
Absolutely. Now, let's say you don't have cash and you can't purchase the property cash, and you have to use a loan, and you're just barely making $100 cash flow. Are you kind of forced to manage your own properties, or is it okay to bleed to have
I
somebody
think
take care
that's
of it?
on you know, based, each one has it's a case-to-case
Scenario.
decision, yeah. Because if you can afford it and
Mhm.
you can bleed and you can hire a property manager, then go for it. But if you really want the property and you want to just squeeze into it, it might be something you're willing to do and say, hey, I'll just manage it. That way I get through this rocky period
True.
and go with that route. I mean, there's a lot. You know what I think people should manage, you know, a property or so, especially if they live in the town and they want to be a real estate investor. It'd be good to do one because then you get to see what the reality of the situation
Yeah, what
is.
it takes to manage a property.
Yeah, you get to. So then when you go to hire a property manager, you'll appreciate them because, you know, the phone calls, the juggling of the schedule.
What if you don't get good tenants? Like, how do you learn how to communicate with them? And then, let's say you've never managed your own properties, and you do have a property manager, and you have a tenant who's not easy to get along with. You won't understand what the property manager has to go through.
Yeah, exactly. So that experience is invaluable to me.
Yep.
Now, if you have 100 rentals,
Yeah, that's not
yeah,
easy.
I'd be like, no. I mean, I would definitely hire somebody, but it's not a one-man show most of the time unless you only have, like, you know, one or two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You get to, you know, I see some older people we buy properties off of. Man, they have like, you know, 20, 30. They're run down. They're tired.
Yeah,
You know, they can't do it anymore.
they've been the managers the whole entire time, and I'm like, you can tell.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy, man. It's not easy trying to do a property manager for so many properties, and you're doing it all on your own. I know you're trying your best, but it's really hard for one individual to keep up with so many properties.
Right, exactly. So I think in that case, it would be a good idea to hire out.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're inexperienced and you want to give it a shot, I think it'd be good to, you know, save some money and to try it yourself. I don't excuse me. I don't think it's real difficult. I just think it takes time to get used to it.
And would you say that property management is somewhere between 10 and 15 or 10 and 12% of the rent?
I think it's somewhere between 7 and 10.
7 and 10% of the rent?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's paying.
More than 10.
Yeah, more than 10, but I don't know. It just depends on what service you're getting.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth, you know, they're worth what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fair.
Oh, yeah, we do a lot.
Yeah, we do a lot. So we manage our own. But, I mean, if we were to have, I think, any more than what we got, you start thinking about getting somebody to take care of it or creating a different division inside your company or creating a property management company or have somebody on staff that handles all that.
Yeah.
So, because typically if you have like an apartment complex or something, you want to have somebody on site.
This is when you get Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Gilmore, he does not only residential, but he does commercial too.
Yeah.
Shout out Jimmy Gilmore if you need somebody to manage your properties.
Yeah, he manages like the big curve,
Oof.
Gilmore Property Management.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
it's,
see the signs out there.
yeah, so he has a staff.
That is wonderful.
And so I think definitely if you own a commercial building, definitely hire a property manager.
Absolutely.
'Cause that's a totally different beast. Because you're
Yeah.
dealing with, I mean, it's obviously living, but you know how to manage a house, right?
Yeah.
But a commercial building, you may have not managed a commercial building before, so
Codes and this and
yeah,
that.
exactly. So
Yep.
dealing with business people, savvy business people,
Mhm.
leases can be a lot more complicated. So
Is commercial Is it more than 10%? Is that when a property
No,
manager?
it's still about the same.
Still about the same?
Yeah, it's still the same, but you just have the cost is the same, but you know you got to comply by different rules
Mm-hmm.
that you may not be familiar with. But if you own it, you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that says you can't. But it'd be good to get, they typically can rent them out because it's not as easy as putting, publishing your place for rent, like on Zillow or, on Facebook or something like that. You could do that with commercial, but typically you're going to have to be with the brokers who deal with, commercial retailers or people that are always dealing with different businesses looking for locations. So I would definitely say hire that out.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that's honestly like the best way we can talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
everybody who's in the comment section, everybody who's watching, thank you so much for watching us live. If you're not able to watch us live, you can get us on Spotify and on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're Next Level Home Buyers, and we don't buy properties.
We
buy
buy
problems.
problems.